Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ, and today I am solo, and we're going to talk about what's spilling out of your cup, bowl. It'll make sense later. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week, both Brooke and I, even though she's not here. We really appreciate it, and a special thank you to those of you watching on YouTube. For letting us know, or even those of you listening on the podcast that went to YouTube and let us know where you were listening / watching from. We're on YouTube again today. If you want to watch along me in a room, you can see some of my paintings behind me. And I'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, just wanted to thank you guys for joining in on the conversation, letting us know where you were from. We had someone from Zimbabwe listening, which is crazy. I'm not going to lie that if you grabbed a map and told me to find Zimbabwe, like a blank map, I don't think I'd be anywhere close. I know it's in Africa. So obviously I am riding solo today. And that is because Brooke's voice has been frustrating her, physically, but I think more so emotionally. So on Friday in the morning, she was really down on herself. And not feeling great about it. And so we prayed as a family, and then we just said, hey, why don't we take a few days of voice rest and just allow you to just like not have to think about it. So that started on Friday, and she said a few words here and there, but for the most part, she hasn't said anything since Friday. And I think it's actually really helped her emotionally to kind of calm down and not have it be so in her head nonstop. Because, it's it's not like this, but in a lot of ways, like if you broke your ankle, and you started recovering from that ankle break, every time you tried to walk quickly or run, you'd be like, this ankle, it's really frustrating. So that's how Brooke feels every time she speaks, which, you use your voice a lot. So it's a constant reminder. And I think it gets to her emotionally more than the physical part of it. And so, so we're just trying to take it one day at a time. And prayers are always appreciated. And we're just trying to find the special sauce that works, and all while still believing for an incredible miracle. I will say that one of the things that's gone really well over the last few days is Brooke has been absolutely 100% crushing it on our stories. So I turned my smartphone into a dumb phone. The only thing I do is I watch our stories on her phone at the end of the night just to see what she posted. And I might be biased because I am madly in love with her and we've been married for 13 years, but I feel like she's doing a great job. I feel like she's just sharing with confidence about what's going on in her life without really getting in her head about it. And she's doing a great job. Me, on the other hand, I have, I guess it's day 11 or 12, maybe day 9. I don't know when I started, of the dumb phone. And that's just a phrase that I borrowed from some guy's article, just about like basically removing the distractions from your phone, turning off notifications, which I've had off for years, deleting time-consuming apps. So I'll actually just even pull up my phone. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this is my home screen. So it's got my camera, Noom, the weight loss app that I use, or the weight adjustment. I don't know. It's not really a weight loss app. It counts your calories. Audible, photos, messages, music, calendar, and phone. So, and then the next page is mostly just like everything's in a folder. Instagram's gone, YouTube's gone, all the time consuming apps are gone. And the reason I did that was I just felt like, and we explained this the other week, was just like, I just needed more deeper mental space to get some of the things done that I wanted to get done. One of which is why I talked about the paintings is I'm going to sell some of these paintings behind me, mostly because they take up a lot of space, and we do not have enough wall space for all of them. Plus, so I'd pay for the canvases and the paint and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that it helps fund the hobby. And so one of my dumb phone jobs, I've a few things that I really want to get done while my phone is not distracting me. One was getting these paintings for sale, which I will have up at some point, probably when I'm back on social media so I can tell people about it. So that took a lot of steps forward. The last week which was really exciting. And again, I just feel like, much like in January, I feel refreshed and I feel, just better sometimes when I'm just not on my phone all the time. And it's like, it's very similar to eating healthy or eating clean. It's like, you don't realize how much is, like how much your food is affecting you until you start eating clean. And you're like, man, I have more energy. I feel healthier. I feel, I feel more energetic. And that is how I feel right now. And I'll talk about that later with what I want to talk about today. But dumb phone update is it's going great. And I'm really thankful that the Spirit of God convicted me to do it and that I just did it. And I feel like it's been really beneficial. This episode isn't going to be as long today because I'm riding solo and it's hard to do this all by yourself at times. But I did watch 2 things this week. And so last week we did the reviews. I feel like people liked it, so I'm going to do it again. I went and saw Thor, Love and Thunder, and we finished off Stranger Things season 4. So those are the 2 things I got to watch this week. I'll start with Thor, Love and Thunder. I'm going to try to do this spoiler-free, but hopefully I'll do it spoiler-free. It was, to me, so I saw it with 4 guys. All the other guys kind of liked it in my group. I did not really like it. I felt like it was sort of, hold on, someone's texting me about Turo. There we go. So Thor, Love and Thunder, I felt like it was, that I liked Thor Ragnarok. The first 2 Thors are sort of forgettable movies to me. There's part of me that thinks I'm just on superhero overlord, but overwhelmed with superhero movies. But that's not totally true because I love Spider-Man No Way Home. I really enjoyed the Batman. And so I saw Thor Love and Thunder. I did not have high hopes going in because I feel like ever since Endgame, Marvel doesn't have a plan for what they're doing. And so all their movies feel very chaotic and scattered and like there's no ultimate purpose or goal for all of these connected stories. And so because of that, you just kind of feel like none of them really matter because they're more concerned with connecting them all than actually telling a good story within the 2-hour time frame. So I've not been impressed with any of the Disney Plus series, any of the Marvels since Endgame, minus Spider-Man. And so I did not have high hopes going in. I also feel like we're in the current film age of destroying legacy characters. So like it happened in Star Wars, it happened with Loki, it happened with Doctor Strange, where we take the main character and we kind of beat him down, make him kind of a fool so that we can elevate some new character that we want to promote. And so Thor was no different. He's kind of a bumbling idiot throughout the whole movie. The movie feels like a giant meme to me, where it's just like, it's kind of a never ending joke, but when everything's a punchline, nothing really is funny to me. And so it just felt like the first 30, 40 minutes were just like this joke, like, a comedian will build up to his punchline and then deliver his punchline and then build up again. With Thor, Love and Thunder, it felt like punchline. And it was just like, just stop. Like memes are meant to be taken in small degrees, not 45 minutes of them. So overall, I was not impressed. And then they brought Natalie Portman back, which I felt like was a weird move. But I also feel like actors only really make money in Marvel movies now, so they all want to be in them. But Natalie Portman felt like just so stagnant to me. And I just felt like I did not care at all because it had been so long since. And so they tried to like re-engage this Thor love story with her. And it just felt like it fell flat. And so it just was not a good movie to me. And one thing I always say about movies is like, would I watch it again on an airplane? That's sort of like the baseline. This was a good movie. I'm sitting on an airplane. I got nothing to do for a few hours. I'm going to watch this movie. I would not watch Thor Love and Thunder on an airplane again. Definitely wouldn't even rent it. Like that's the lowest bar to me. And so outside of that, I'm just like, not great. So take it or leave it is what I'll say. But would love to know if you guys saw what you thought, in the YouTube comments. That'd be cool. And then the other thing I watched this week is we finished off, Stranger Things season 4, which I understand is not for everybody. It's kind of a spooky show. Some people don't like that kind of stuff. Love season 1, season 2 and 3 were sort of meh to me. Again, did not have high hopes for season 4. If you guys have ever seen that meme of the horse drawing where it's like, super beautiful, intricate drawing, and then that's season 1, and then like by the end it's just a stick figure, and you're like season 4 and on. But surprisingly, Stranger Things rallied in the last 2 episodes to me. The season as a whole, the first 6 episodes, to me felt very like some parts were really excellent and really good and really interesting, especially when it comes to Steve and Dustin. And other parts were just like, why are these characters? It's definitely a show that suffers from having too many characters with too short of a time. So like back in the day, television used to be like 24 episodes for a season. And so if Stranger Things season 4 was 24 episodes, you would have time to tell all these really great stories with all this huge cast of characters, but they jam it into 8 episodes. And so you find yourself being like, I don't really care about that story. Let's stop talking about that one and let's go to this one. But surprisingly, they did a really good job at the end, kind of bringing it all together. And I felt like they had some good character development, some good story arcs that were satisfying to complete. They kind of rediscovered some of the magic of season 1 to me. And it was one of those things like, and I'd seen Thor the night before, and then Brooke and I watched one of each episodes the following 2 nights. And like the difference was kind of shocking to me. Like the Stranger Things season 4 episodes, I was like on the edge of my seat, caring about some of these characters, even getting teary eyed. And like Thor, I was just like on my phone. I'm like, I don't care what happens to any of these people. And so very different 2 experiences back to back. So if Stranger Things, if you like Stranger Things season 1 and 2 and 3 didn't do it for you, season 4 might kind of re-engage your enjoyment of it. But I understand it's not for everything. It's kind of spooky for some people. So those are the 2 things I watched. And that's the only segment I have for today. So I'm going to jump right into what I want to talk about, which is a section of this book called Parenting by Paul David Tripp, 14 Gospel Principles that can radically change your family. So I've been very slowly reading this book. So I read The Habits of the Household by Justin something, Justin Early something. He's got like a hyphenated name. And in every chapter, at the end of every chapter of Habits of Household, he said continued reading, like recommended reading. And there'd be different books, like he recommended Atomic Habits or The Power of Habit, or like, and then there were like some parenting books, but almost in every single one of his chapters, he recommended this book. And so I was like, well, that's got to mean something, so I should check it out. So I'm only about 40 some pages in. I've noticed that I've become a slower reader recently, that I just like really am trying to take my time and actually absorb the information and not just be like, oh, I finished X amount of books this year. I'd rather remember them than just finish more. And so this book is excellent so far. And if you have kids, I'm only 40 pages in, but I highly recommend it. But this part really like kind of caught me, and it was something that I was like, man, and I think I'll talk about this with Brooke when she's back, but I want to just talk about it right now because it's something I've been thinking about. So this is from his book, Parenting. Pretend that I have a bowl of water in my hands and I shake it vigorously and water splashes out of the bowl. And suppose I ask you why water spilled out of the bowl and you answer that it spilled because I shook it. It all sounds pretty logical, doesn't it? But the answer is only partly correct. Why did water splash out of the bowl? Because water was in the bowl. If the bowl had been filled with milk, you could shake it for an eternity and water would never spill out of it. In the same way, it is very important for parents to understand and humbly admit that when we are shaken by sin, weakness, rebellion, foolishness, or failure of our children, what comes out of us, words, actions, attitudes, is what is already inside of us. And so you read something like that and you're just like, cool. Oh, jeez. Like that will kind of knock your feet out from under you. And so I read it and I was like, man, how incredibly true that is. And I just love the visual of just holding the bowl and knowing that in life, things are going to spill out. Like I'm eventually going to stumble, or I'm going to get frustrated, or I'm going to try to do something too quickly. And eventually something's going to spill out of this bowl. Like whatever's inside of my heart is going to spill out in my conversation, in my action, in my demeanor. And so what is inside fueling me? And this goes really well with the dumb phone. And really well with sort of like the analogy I was giving earlier, that just like, if we only eat junk food, if I ate sour candy every single day of the week, which would be amazing, in theory, until I felt horrible and slow and sluggish and dull and, like just I wasn't firing on all cylinders. I probably wouldn't be able to keep up with my kids. Then, that would be frustrating. And so the same is true about our souls and our hearts, is the same as our physical bodies. Like what we put into our physical body affects the energy output. And so I've been on sort of a health kick lately, and I feel great. Like I feel really energetic, and I feel like I'm playing better at the beach with the girls. And, I'm so thankful for that. And so I found myself feeling and we talked about this in recent episodes, where I was just like, I feel like everything I'm doing is so surface level. I'm not diving deep into the work and the projects that bring me life and fulfillment. And so that's why I went with the dumb phone. And I feel like that water analogy is so perfect. It's like, well, what's going to spill out of me is what I'm consuming. And so if I'm just constantly consuming like the volatile, incredibly intense social media persona, rhetoric, whatever you want to call it, then when I get frustrated, that's going to be what's at the surface level for me. And instead, I'm not filling myself with the fruits of the Spirit. I'm not filling myself with the Word of God. I'm not filling myself with worship music or with, joy or things that fill my heart with incredible peace. And so to me, I was just like reading that passage kind of reinvigorated me to be like, I'm going to ride this dumb phone thing out for as long as I can, because I want to be someone that when they spill, when I'm rushed or I'm frustrated or my kids don't do what I want them to do, or Brooke's voice isn't where it needs to be, and I spill and I stumble, that while some negativity may come out, that the majority of what comes out is refreshing. And I felt like this week I wanted to encourage all of you in the same way, that if you feel like, man, I am just like, I'm paper thin, I'm super stressed, I am anxious, I am snappy and snippy and just like tense, my shoulders are tense, maybe it's time to do a little dumb phone, and maybe it's time to really watch what you're intaking, so that when you do spill or when your kids are obnoxious, that the thing that comes out isn't, hostility or frustration, that you have good fruit in the bowl. And that is what's spilling out when things don't go right. And so, yeah, I just wanted to encourage all of you in that this week, while Brooke's not being able to be here with us. And yeah, I just think like, it was just a little bit of a story that I wanted to share. And, it's not, it's definitely a little bit harder to have a conversation about it when I'm by myself in our office. And so, yeah, so I would just really encourage you to just think about that analogy all week, what it would be like to know what's in that bowl of water, because it's going to spill. And when it does, what's it going to be? So that's it. And I want to end with some news that we have upcoming. August 1st, we got a Tea of the Month coming out. It's from the Design Vault, but not too far back. So some of you may have it, but it's really good and we're really stoked about it. We are having a live event on December 22nd in Manheim, Pennsylvania. I'm going to just keep talking about that until we have some more details, but I'm just going to keep saying it. The fall collection now has a date of August 25th, and we are sending previews to the podcast group text. And to join that, all you need to do is text the word podcast to 717-563-6588, and that'll automatically add you to the list. And we're trying to send previews out as to build up to the collection. But yeah, that's it for today. My question for YouTube, I felt like I had one, and now I'm totally blanking. Shoot. Oh man, I don't know. Just comment on the YouTube. Let us know where you're at, what's going on. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us part of your week. Thank you for the prayers and the support for Brooke, because, we're just so grateful for it. I just can't say enough. And join me this week in believing for just a miracle that is just going to be healed in Jesus' name. All right, thanks. Okay, I love you. Bye.